We've just finished a week of traveling through Utah and some wonderful hiking along the way. The weather was spectacular, and what we want to do today is just kind of give you an overview of the different parks that we went through and try to identify what's different, what we liked about them, and make some recommendations if you're ever in the area. Our first park was Kodachrome.
It was recommended to us by a fellow traveler, and it's a smaller state park. So we thought, oh, we've got the afternoon, we'll just pop over there.
Kodachrome was named Kodachrome because it was very colorful.
Like in the old Kodachrome movies.
So what was unique about Kodachrome is it had a number of different spires, these rock columns that kind of shot right out of the earth. And as those columns have eroded, they've left these spires, which were really quite amazing to see and to walk around.
Warm enough, I had to get my air vents going.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
So sexy.
We did two hikes there. One was along more of the lower level, and we'd be able to walk in and see a number of where
slot canyons
of where the ground had eroded.
The slot canyons were kind of neat, being able to like walk between the big rocks because they were so high on either side, and just it was really neat. The other cool thing about Kodachrome was their long, would you call them piers?
Peninsulas, fjords.
I would not have used any of those terms.
Long, skinny
walkways with these huge drops on either side.
Our second big park we did was Bryce Canyon, and Bryce Canyon is really known for its hoodoos. And these hoodoos were really quite spectacular. The way the ground had eroded around the canyon left these nice rock formations. Today we're hiking Bryce Canyon National Park. We're doing the Navajo Trail. This first part we're doing Wall Street, which is taking us down this wall, down 500 feet, and from there we're gonna hook up with another trail, and total hike is gonna be about 3 miles today.
Get to the bottom of the canyon and we see there's this giant tree growth all the way up. We could climb down into the canyon, into the Bryce Amphitheater, and hike amongst these hoodoos and all these formations. So it was neat because you got to see it from both angles.
And then it was a long hike out, but it didn't seem that long because again you're walking through these beautiful rock walls and lots of winding, so you didn't necessarily know what was around the next corner. So we just finished our hike. We started over there on the far point. You may be able to see people standing there, and then made our way down through the canyon, down through the forest, and then up over on the other side here. Good morning, everybody. Calling in from another sunny morning in Utah, Bryce National Park. Today we're on another little hike to Mossy Cave, and we're just gonna check it out and see how cool it is. So as we've hiked up this little canyon, we've come across this nice little waterfall. Oh, we've made it to the Mossy Cave. Now, Alice, why would you think they'd call this the Mossy Cave?
That's hard to decide because there's not even any moss in here. Here we are at Bryce Canyon, and we're doing another hike, and it is Fairyland hike, and it will take us down to Tower Bridge.
What you doing, Am?
This tree smells like vanilla. I might start licking it.
But Tower Bridge, when we got to the bottom, it looked like I don't remember Tower Bridge.
It looked like the Tower Bridge in London.
I've never seen that.
Okay, so that just fizzled out.
So we've made it to the bottom of Tower Bridge. Now we're just starting our 1.7 mile hike back up to Sunrise Point, approximately a 950 foot elevation hike.
Seriously? You didn't say that before when we came down.
Oh, we just climbed our 900 foot elevation, 950, and made it to the top. How's everybody feeling?
Like a bit tired, but
better now that we're at the top. It almost died coming up.
In Kannaraville, Utah, going on the Kannaraville Canyon hike. It's going to take us through a canyon up about 2 kilometers worth of stream and waterfall. I think there's 2 waterfalls that we're going to go through, and then
we have to wade through the river. We got our wool socks on today because they said the water's so cold they recommend wool socks or neoprene socks. So should be interesting.
So we finally made it to the real cool part.
it's very deep.
Beginning, the wool socks did kind of keep our feet warm, but as we got even farther along, our feet got really cold.
My foot is so numb. It feels like it's got frostbite and then got cut off. Like I can't even feel it. It's so cold.
As we hiked further in, the canyon walls grew taller and then grew in closer to the river, so we couldn't walk along a path anymore. We actually had to get in the river, and then eventually the canyon became such a slot that you could only hike up the river, and it got to be almost waist deep by the time we got to the second falls. At the first falls.
At the first falls, it was a really beautiful place in general, but these 2 waterfalls are what the place was known for. And so at the first waterfall, there was a ladder, and so it was a really rickety ladder, but we climbed up it anyways, and it was kind of fun.
Gotta warm up the feet. We're wishing we brought those hot paws we use for skiing.
When we got to the second falls, though, that's where we really had to get deep into the water, and so we were already cold, and so we thought, well, we've made it this far, we might as well jump in.
There's no hot in this one. Grab her on your way by.
When we arrived in Zion, there was not any campsites available. So we decided to do some boondocking, which means just parking on government land. And seemed to work out okay. We have a few neighbors here, also have the same idea. Our next park was Zion National Park, and it seemed to be more grand than the other parks in terms of the high cliffs and sheer drops that were seen throughout the park.
Checkerboard Mesa here in Zion. Alice and Dawn are going to attempt to climb it. See how far they'll get. Here comes Lucy in the back. Kind of like climbing the Egyptian pyramids.
What was also really neat to see was some of the wildlife. We saw some bighorn sheep just right on the side of the road.
Except these ones just had little horns.
And one had a collar on it.
Somebody lost his pet.
We did a total of three hikes here. The first was a canyon overlook hike where we climbed over along a rickety path out to the canyon. Things are just getting a little more hairier further along we go. It's kind of cool. Made it out to the overlook, and as you see in the distance there's a wedding going on. But it's a beautiful night. A gorgeous view. Here in Zion National Park this morning for a hike to Angel's Landing. Angel's Landing is about a 5-mile hike in total. We probably won't do the actual full hike because the last half mile is straight up on a thin ridge, and 9 people have died falling off this ridge in the last 15 years. So we'll see what it's like when we get there, and hopefully we'll continue on our little world tour. So the actual hike goes right up to the very tip of that mountain up there. How's it going, Em?
It's a tough climb. Can't look back, I might go overboard.
Some parts are hard, but the shade's really nice.
We just rounded our corner. We thought we were almost near the top, but as you can see, there's still quite a few switchbacks before we summit. So we finally made it up to the top. Great view of the canyon.
This is what happens when you do too many hikes. Wake up, Donnie. Our second hike of the day brought us to Upper Emerald Pool. It was a 5K round trip with a 250-foot elevation, and brought us to this cool little pool. Nice and cool temperature too, but at the bottom of these gigantic rock face cliffs.
From Utah, we traveled into Arizona to the Grand Canyon and spent a day exploring the sights of the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon is extremely grand. It is so big, it's mind-boggling. But after the intimacy and being able to hike amongst the hoodoos and all of the other colorful sights that we had seen the last couple days, I think Grand Canyon was a bit of a letdown for us.
Because it was so big and everything was so far away that you couldn't really appreciate all the colors, or there was so much of it that you couldn't really
take it all in. Yeah. We did hike down, what was it, a mile and a half down into the canyon, and I mean that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's no way that we could have hiked down into the canyon much further.
Was a tough hike.
That was a tough hike.
Hard.
It was a different perspective to be down in the canyon rather than just watching it from the rim too. So we're really glad that we made the hike down to the inside the canyon. We also saw some bighorn sheep.
That was
This guy did have big horns.
Yeah, they were big curly horns, and there was a baby bighorn sheep, and then the mom, if the trail was here, the mom was right here eating grass, so we got quite a few good pictures of her.
After visiting all these national parks and seeing all these amazing places, I think we've decided that Utah has been our favorite place so far.